Hello and welcome to Newsmakers for this Halloween, October 31st, 2024. I'm Louie Bekker and thank you for joining us. Today is Saturday. Hamilton's Forge FC will look to book their spot in the CPL finals when they take on Atletico Ottawa at Tim Hortons Field. And for more on the big game and to break down Forge's season, I'm very pleased to be joined by Forge FC midfielder Noah Jensen. Noah, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate it, buddy. I know you just got off the training pitch. So describe to us how training was today in anticipation of Saturday's big game.
Yeah, I think the day started off well. Our strength and conditioning coach dressed up as a Gatorade bottle. So that was entertaining. But yeah, training this week's been good so far. The warm weather's been back for us, which has been nice. But it's just another serious week getting tactically prepared for the big game on Saturday.
Absolutely. Huge game on Saturday. I don't want to spend too much time on the game last Saturday. It seemed Cavalry had a plan once they went up 1-0. I know casual soccer fans, football fans might call it parking the bus, but really went into a defensive-minded style of play there. How much can you look back on Saturday, either as motivation or from learning, or how much can you review the tape on a game like that?
Yeah, I think you saw, especially in the second half, we were able to create a lot of chances, and being free-flowing like that in the final third is something we're definitely going to be looking to carry over into this game. But the big reflection from that game is just attention to detail. I think if we don't concede in the first half of that game, we go on to win. So that's just kind of the mindset and the focus that we have to have playing against Ottawa, who's also going to be a defensively resolute team as well.
Now, Noah, it's been talked a lot about the leadership in the room, the championship caliber, the championship experience of people across Forge FC, from the top down. How much does that experience help? Even your own experience, how much does it help bouncing back from a game like that and looking ahead to a game like this Saturday against Ottawa?
Yeah, I think it's important. Just another example of how this team's, battled back from adversity. We've done it all season. For the 3 years that I've been here, we've done it every single year. So this is going to be another good example of that. But yeah, like you mentioned, the experience we have of being in these important games is something that we all use as more of like a calming sense, I would say. We've all been in this moment before. It's never too big for us. And we know that we can look to each other and everyone's going to perform their best on the day, which, I think is something that we depend on and is going to be very useful on Saturday.
Now, I can imagine this probably comes as a compliment. I hope it comes as a compliment for you, but I've heard people refer to you as Mini Becks. Have you heard that before? Is Mini Becks something that's tossed around at all?
Yeah, I've heard the father-son duo one mentioned too many times. So.
I love that, but I've been lucky enough to get to know Kyle just covering the CPL. For you getting to learn from a Canadian soccer legend like Kyle Bekker, and to get to play with him, practice with him, see the way he operates on and off the field. What have you taken away from number 10, and how has he made you a better player?
Yeah, no, like you said, I think he's done so much for football at Forge FC for sure. I remember, when I was growing up, I was the one watching Kyle Bekker get drafted into the MLS, play with Toronto FC, and see the wonderful career he had before coming here, and then having the opportunity to get to know him and to share the field with him has been very special for me. Not only on the field, but off the field, he's been a great mentor and friend, someone I've had a lot of important conversations with, and a guy who's really taught me a lot of lessons that I don't think I would have otherwise learned. So obviously that experience in itself is very, very important to me. And not only that, but he's also a quality player on the field. You get to see it every weekend. So yeah, being his teammate and him leading this team is special.
Because, the Mini Becks compliment there. You guys do have a very similar path, right? The way you played your high school football. You both went the NCAA route. I want to talk to you about that. How does a kid from Courtice, Ontario, going to high school with guys like Connor McDavid, a very hockey-oriented city out there near Oshawa, how does a kid from Courtice, Ontario, end up with a soccer ball between his feet in the first place?
Yeah, it's a long story. I'll say that. But yeah,
we got all the time in the world, man. Come on.
Yeah,
it's a podcast. Noah, go for it.
When I was in 8th grade, I got the opportunity to go to Blythe Academy. I guess it's in Downsview Park. So that was where I got to meet all these hockey stars. Connor McDavid was there. One of my best friends was Owen Tippett. So I've been surrounded by hockey my whole life, but honestly, I stuck with soccer because I was good at it. And one of the big decisions I think you have to make coming from a small town is kind of venturing outside your comfort zone. And so I was able to go to Sigma Academy when I was 15 or 16 years old, and I realized that, getting a scholarship to get my post-secondary education and play soccer was what I wanted to do. Crazy thing though, I didn't really have any offers coming out of high school. Oakland University in Michigan, they took a chance on me, and I went with it. I ran with it. My first year and all 4 years, to be honest, at Oakland were amazing. I started playing my best football towards the end, and then an opportunity opened up to come back home somewhere close to home where my parents could come watch me, and that was very important to me. And yeah, that's a big story about how I ended up at Forge.
Yeah, and Sigma FC, of course, for people who may not know this, Sigma FC started by Bobby and Kostas Smirniotis back in the day. So you know Bobby, you've known Bobby for quite some time. I love watching him work because he's always a coach. He's never your friend. He's always your coach. And I even remember having this conversation with Kyle one day where he's like, yeah, Bobby's not your friend. He's your coach. You don't want your buddy to be in charge of you there. What have you learned from Bobby Smirniotis when it comes to football? I'm sure we're talking about long answers. I'm sure we could go the rest of the hour with this, but what does it mean to play for Coach Bobby and to know him as long as you have?
Yeah, you're right. I've known him for a while because I knew him when he still had hair on the top of his head. But one of the most memorable things about him is I remember when Forge first became a thing in 2019, and I was still at Sigma. The days that he would come back and watch practice were the most serious days of training that we had in the whole season. And he just has that presence about him, the serious presence, because he knows his football. He's a guy that takes his job very seriously, and he puts in more hours than probably anyone I've ever seen doing a job. So we know that anything that he tells us is completely tactically and thought through. And yeah, all the instructions he gives us on a weekly basis going into the games, we know it's stuff that's going to work, and all we can really do is execute them to try our best, and we know that we're giving ourselves the best chance to succeed.
Well put. Yeah, Coach Bobby, intense guy, but once you're on his side, once you're on his team, he's got your back no matter what. I want to talk about playing in Hamilton, the crowd support. I was there on Saturday. Obviously not the result anybody wanted that was in the building, but what has it meant to get to play in front of the fans here in Hamilton? Just the support of soccer, and even in the few years you've been here, seeing that support grow and maybe even seeing your own celebrity grow here in the city.
Yeah, even thinking back to 2022, which is my first year at the club, I think I can really see that there's been like a growth in following of this club, which is amazing. I'm very lucky to be in a position at Forge where I'm able to go out in the community and have an impact on youth soccer and other different setups going on in the city of Hamilton, which has been very valuable to me. So I think just developing that tie with the city and just being able to have a good relationship with our fans is something that, this club holds true to its heart. Obviously we really value them. They show it in numbers every single game, rain or shine, win or lose, they're there for us. And I remember Ali mentioned this last week in an interview, but we really do play our best football when we have the people there watching us. I know Montreal came here this season and we had something like 20,000 fans out to watch, and we played them off the park. So I think that's just a testament to the quality that we have in our team, and we're just really incredibly grateful for everything the fans do for us.
We're just showing, I think this was a late 90th minute goal against Valor, it looks like. Were you booked for that celebration there, Noah? I can't remember.
My only yellow card of the season.
You just couldn't resist, eh? 90th minute goal. You had to. That was a big game, 2-1. You had to celebrate.
Yeah, you don't score those every week, so you gotta take full advantage of it.
The CPL in general, like I said, I've been fortunate enough to have really a front row seat since day one to Forge FC to CanPL. I've seen what it's done for players, even like yourself, just a place to play and getting to showcase and continue to grow. But can you put that into perspective from a player's perspective of just what this league, it's growing. Here we are, year 6, year 7. It's trying to grow. It is growing, but what it means for a player to get to play in this league and what this league represents.
Yeah, I think for me, especially growing up, I never really had a top division to look up to. And so when I first heard that the CPL was coming around in 2019, I was excited because being a Canadian-born player, as a kid, you're either thinking, oh, I have to go to Europe to be a pro, or I have to go to university in the U.S. and get drafted to get to the next level. And the CPL has provided an amazing opportunity for players all around the country, players who have previously played abroad and have come back home. I think there's something special about playing in your home country, and I remember even being here at Tim Hortons Field for the inaugural game in 2019, and it was something really special. Just to see the overall development of football in our country and how it's continued to grow. And I think, especially with the World Cup coming to North America, I think it will only do good things for the league. Obviously, soccer is still a rising popular sport in North America, and I think the more eyes you get on soccer, the more eyes you get on the CPL, and the sky's the limit, honestly.
The season is a grind. If there's one thing I remember from covering the CPL, it's that it starts very early, late February, early March. Then that's without the CONCACAF Champions League game, which you will have next year. How do you stay relaxed? I mean, because it is so much football all the time. You're focused on your job, as you should, but what do you do away from the pitch to kind of clear your mind or just sort of relax?
I mean, you're right. We did start in January, and now it's getting into November, so it's been a long year for us. But yeah, I think one of the important things for me is to not get so caught up in all this stuff. It's really easy to when you're training for X amount of hours a day. You play every weekend. And over the course of the season, it's tough to not just think football all the time. So currently I'm doing my MBA, actually. I'm in my last class this semester. I'm doing it online through Oakland University. So I basically just go to a coffee shop and do spreadsheets for the rest of the day. And that takes my mind off soccer, which I honestly value a lot. I do like to cook, so trying out new stuff is my thing, and that's just what I do to wind down and take my mind off of football a little bit.
That's awesome. I remember being in the Island Games, Maxime Tissot was always on his laptop. I'm not sure if he was studying for something, but he was one of those guys always doing his homework when he wasn't on the pitch. And I know you'll see Maxime this weekend in a big game. I know you're hoping to make it his last professional soccer game. Cavalry FC, that rivalry, did you feel it on the pitch there on Saturday? And is it a legitimate rivalry right now? Like, is there some dislike between the two clubs?
I think the dislike between the two clubs just stems from both of us trying to be the best. I think you see it every single year. There's always big games in the CPL, and the two teams that are playing it are Forge and Calgary. So I think it's just a testament to them. They've had a good season this year. They've had some good players. They stepped up at the right time, and yeah, they got the best of us last time, but there's been many good battles that I've been a part of and well before I was here, and that will only continue to grow stronger going into the future.
Yeah, we're looking at the very first, forever first, 2019 CPL Championship. That, of course, was won in Calgary, the Island Games, and of course, you've been here 2022, 2023. The Supporters Shield, of course, won that as well this year. Okay, I had a fun fact here from a spy inside Forge FC. They say you're a trivia nut. You love trivia. Was that like a trivia night thing? Are you playing Trivial Pursuit? Like how has that rumor been spread that you're a trivia nut, Noah?
I mean, whoever said it, they're telling the truth. I mean, I wouldn't say it's one of my hobbies, but I like doing crosswords all the time, doing online quizzes, like geography quizzes. That's my kind of stuff. I started to get into this history podcast thing, so I'm just taking in information every day, trying to be the MVP of whatever trivia team I end up on. So
you never know when you're going to be called to a trivia night, right?
Exactly.
No, I know you're very busy. I know you just got off the pitch, so I appreciate you making time to tee up Saturday's game. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. That is Noah Jensen, Forge FC midfielder. He will be part of the squad that's taking on Atletico Ottawa Saturday afternoon at Tim Hortons Field. And if you want to go to forgefc.com or Forge FC's website to get your tickets. All right, that'll do it for us today. I want to thank Noah Jensen for joining me today. I want to thank Laura Brody as well for directing today's episode. And hey, while you're here, why don't you like and subscribe to CHCH Podcast so you never miss an episode of this show or any of the other great shows we have for you, like Sportsline with Bubba O'Neill. We've just got lots coming up on today's show. One more time, thank you for listening from all of us here at CHCH. I'm Louie Bekker. Have a great day.